Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Dais, a podcast about the stories taking place in and around El Paso County, Colorado. I'm your host, Scott Anderson, and today I am joined by the El Paso County Treasurer and Public Trustee, Chuck Broerman. How are you doing today, Chuck?
Good morning, Scott. Nice to have you.
Yeah, great to be out here. It is a beautiful day. I see the mountains out the window. I mean, I don't know what more you could possibly want on
It's
a day
the
like
best
today.
place in the world to be. You know, people want to be one of two places in the world, either by the ocean or in the mountains, and we're in the mountains.
There you go. Absolutely. Before we get started today, I want to quickly add that if listeners are interested in more stories about people doing good in and around El Paso County, or hearing from county leadership about local government priorities and how they operate, you can find additional episodes of this podcast on your podcast platform of choice. But to get started today, Chuck, I was wondering if you could start by giving us some background about yourself prior to stepping into your role here as El Paso County Treasurer.
Well, sure. Thank you, Scott. So it started many years ago. I worked for the first 20 years of my life in manufacturing and engineering in a high-tech field, making computer chips. And I've moved from Dayton, Ohio to here to continue my career. So I worked in that field for nearly 20 years, and it was a very rewarding, fast-paced, go-go type environment in the semiconductor industry. I had the opportunity, my touch with fame in that industry was I worked with the inventor of the liquid crystal display, which if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, it's what you see every day. It was very rudimentary at the time, but it was very amazing to be working with the engineer who that had invented what we come to use every day.
Yeah. What made you want to make the switch from the semiconductor industry into local politics?
Well, sometimes it's a conscious decision, and other times it's one that's made for you, right? The semiconductor industry was moving offshore. Mm-hmm. And if I wanted to continue in that industry, it was going to have to be done in Malaysia, and that was a decision, what to make best for your family. I'd always been involved in the politics side of things. As a young lad, I was a history buff, and I'd share with my father current event stories, and he was a history buff, so I liked current events and got drawn to helping make good things for other people in the world of politics. So I got involved in helping candidates run for election, and then the opportunity came for me to do so a number of years ago.
That's excellent. So a couple of things I want to talk about still kind of with your past. Before you were in this role as Treasurer and Public Trustee, you were El Paso County's Clerk and Recorder. Now that you've been in the office, talk to me a little bit about the differences between the two.
Well, I think they're both, you're being a servant to our citizens, but I think having worked 20 years in the private sector, being conducive to what the customer wants, what the end user wants as far as a product and how they want it delivered and how they want their needs met, I think that gave me a great consciousness as being the county clerk and recorder, where our role was delivering motor vehicle services, running elections, and then also doing recording of financial and legal documents, to doing the fun stuff of managing people in the recording area. So I had a very keen interest in making sure that government was working to its best to our citizens, that we were providing the services in the manner that our citizens wanted to do that. Rather than just being open from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, we had a Saturday office hours that we kept for people who can't get to the office, to being innovative, to offering kiosk services where people could renew their motor vehicle license plate tags at their local supermarkets office, to running elections and creating vote centers that were where people were, that they could vote and have their voices heard. So I think the marrying of the good portions of the private sector with government, and just like I found it very rewarding to work with some special people making some very interesting products that we all come to know and love, I have found the same sense of dedication and hard work and spirit in county government, which I didn't think I would see at first, but I do. I found some very, very smart, intelligent, hardworking people in the government sector as they did in the private sector.
Yeah, I've mentioned this a couple of times hosting this podcast, but I've been in government for 3 years now. This is my first government job, and I can definitely agree with your assertion there that, you think you work with a lot of really good people in private sector and other places, but when coming to work for government, the majority of the people that I've worked with are very selfless people who really just want to serve their community. And when you see that sort of passion that like goes into the job, a lot of these jobs can be really difficult and really taxing. And I mean, I just think about, DHS, they deal with a lot of difficult things. Public Works, I mean, they're out there all hours of the day, sometimes working, oftentimes around here, working in snowstorms, plowing roads and things like that. Like that can be like really taxing on you, physically and mentally. But I mean, these are people who really just want to do the best for their community. And it really is great to come into the office and see people who really just want to help other people.
And I agree. I think citizens in El Paso County should be, they're very blessed here because I think we are different than a lot of other governmental entities around the state or a nation. I think we're very unique in how we are perceptive of what our customers need, our citizens need, and giving that out to our citizens. So I think our citizens can be very proud that we have government servants that are thinking about their best interests.
So when you were elected to the role as treasurer, you also take on the role as public trustee here in El Paso County. Can you talk a little bit about the differences of those roles and exactly what you do in those roles?
Sure. So as the treasurer, I am the chief tax collector. So outside of maybe Matthew in the Bible, I'm your second most favorite tax collector.
Yeah, I was going to say, thinking of tax collectors, I always think of the Sheriff Nottingham in the animated Robin Hood, right? Yes. He's always, going around collecting taxes, but bad guy, but I still kind of liked him.
Yeah, so we are the tax collector for some 380 municipalities, special districts, from fire districts to county of El Paso County, all the municipalities, the school districts. So, we are able to deliver that service very economically for each of those entities so that they can provide the essential services that our citizens want and need. So that's an honor to be able to work with those entities and providing that service. So that's one hat we wear. And the other hat we wear is something that is relatively new to our office. It's only been the public trustee portion was moved into our office by some legislative changes about a half a dozen years ago. The public trustee, it's very unique. There's only one state in the 50 United States that has a public trustee, and the public trustee is kind of that referee or that in-between person when it comes to the unfortunate situation where a borrower who borrowed money to purchase a home or a business and they've fallen on difficult circumstances that they're not able to keep up. In other states, that's done judicially, where they go to the courts and seek a remedy. But here in Colorado, the founding fathers of the state of Colorado felt there need to be kind of that person that's kind of the go-between between the borrower and the lender to make sure that all actors are working in the best interests of both. So we serve that role. We do the foreclosures, and then also the part of the public trustee is when you have that happy day and you made your last mortgage payment, you can get from our office the deed of trust that shows that you own that home free and clear. So kind of different roles. One's the tax collector, and one's kind of that intermediary between the bank and the borrower.
Yeah,
in those situations.
I feel like that second one, you should have those little like champagne poppers you use for New Year's.
That's a good idea.
Hey,
we should add that. That'd be a great thing.
We'll put that in the suggestion box.
Well, we'll probably have to get a bigger vacuum sweeper because there'll be a lot of confetti, right?
Yeah, that's true. So one of the processes that you have implemented here, and this is just recently, is related to property tax prepayment plans.
Sure.
So walk me through this new process, kind of how it came about, and how exactly it benefits our El Paso County residents.
Well, it was an idea that was born, and it's gotten legs here. So we know that property taxes have been increasing. It's a very popular place that we live here in Colorado Springs in Colorado, and that has seen the rise of property values, and with that, the rise of property taxes. And we know some people struggle with property taxes. We don't, in our office, set the property taxes. That's done in each of the municipalities and special districts that set that. We just are the collector of those funds and the distributor of those funds. So we know people struggle, especially, when you buy a house and you have your mortgage, your property taxes are wrapped up into that monthly payment. So that's paid along the way over the years. And then once you pay that off, you're probably at a different station in your life. You're nearing either the end of your work career or you have retired, and you may be on a more fixed or restricted income, and it becomes a challenge. Whereas, hey, automatically I now owe, let's say, $2,400 at property tax time, and before that was broken down in little chunks, and now people struggle. How am I going to come up with that amount of money? And finding a way to kind of create a solution for our citizens that's kind of more manageable. The old adage of how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it one bite at a time. Kind of the same thing with property taxes. Breaking that down into smaller increments. So that people can manage that in a budget-like way. So I asked one of our vendors that we have here in the county about, hey, is there a way of providing an escrow for people who have paid their property off and have that free and clear? And there wasn't that. And I said, well, why not? And they go, just no one's ever thought of that. So it's like, could we do that? And the vendor goes, well, nah, I don't think so.
Didn't seem too keen on it.
And then a few weeks later, I circled back with them again. I said, I think there's some merit in this. And they finally came around, and in a short span of 8 to 10 weeks, we went from a program that nobody has created in this country. We have found out that we're the inaugural program in the country that offers the ability for people to prepay their property taxes in little bite-sized chunks. And be able to do that online. So you don't have to come into our office physically. You can if you want to, but gas isn't cheap. You don't have to drive here. You can mail it in, but postage is now 78 cents. So we'd love to have you in office, but between the gas, driving your car here or putting a stamp on it, it's not cheap either. So we were able to create a way electronically where people can go to our county website, the El Paso County Treasurer's Office, and we have it on our main page. It's called Escrow Taxes. You can go to escrowtaxes.com and you can sign up, and you just go through the little drop-down menus. You select Colorado because there are now people who are starting to think about doing this in other states. So we created this vehicle for others to possibly join in, and you drop down Colorado, and I'm hearing from states like Texas, California, Ohio, Tennessee, and others that are saying, hey, we're interested in this. So our vendor has created the possibility for others to join in on this new idea, and you drop down and select El Paso County, because after we started this, now 25 other counties in Colorado have joined the mix. And then when you go to that, you can search for your property either by your name, by your address, or by your schedule or parcel number, which not everyone has that at their at their fingertips, but you have 3 different ways that you can search for it, and then you find your property, and then you can select on it, and they'll divide up what you owe for next year into monthly little payments, and they will send you a reminder, and you'll sign up. You can pay either through an ACH withdrawal, or most people know it as an e-check, and the cost is very minimal. It's $1 a month to do that. If you want to use your credit card, which I'm not encouraging people because you have the interest rate on it, but some people want the points.
Yeah, got to earn the points.
Can use that. So citizens can access the monthly prepayment program either coming into our office, going online and signing up for the service. They get monthly memos from the provider saying, hey, this is coming out on the 15th of this month. And then as the payment is made to us at the beginning of the year, it lets you know that the payment's been made. So there's always that transparency for you, the consumer, about when your payment is coming out and then when it is being paid to our office. So you have that peace of mind. It creates a de-stressful situation for you when it comes to property taxes. You don't have to lay awake late at night thinking about how am I going to pay my property taxes, or I need to remember to pay them. So I think it gives people the peace of mind. It gives them convenience. Mm-hmm. It's at a very minimal cost for our citizens, and I think it's one of the great services that El Paso is come to known to being innovative, and I'm glad that the Treasurer's Office is part of that.
No, that's really great. So I've got a couple questions based off of what you were sharing there. It sounds like it's pretty quick to set up if you do want to set it up. It doesn't take a whole lot of work to do it.
No, it's very easy to do. You can probably sign up in about two to 3 minutes time, and even if you're not all that adept maybe with websites and stuff like that. You can have your granddaughter probably show you how to sign up and do it.
My 3-year-old shows me how to do certain stuff on the phone. Yeah, that's funny. And then another thing I wanted to ask about, I know that come income tax time, you get statements from your, in my case, from my mortgage holder,
Sure.
With property tax information that I submit with my yearly income tax. Is it going to be the same sort of process where this organization or this company will send you that same documentation?
Sure. So yeah, you'll have that document. You'll have the email. If you do it electronically, you'll have an email that will be sent, that each month that you made a payment, and then to them, and it's held in escrow. And mm-hmm. then at the key times that it's required to be to our office statutorily, which is February 28th for half of it, and the other half is June 15th, you'll get that statement that says, we have just deposited $1,200, let's use that as an example, mm-hmm. To the El Paso County Treasurer's Office on February 28th. So that'll be your receipt or confirmation.
Got it. Yeah. I am not an expert when it comes to anything tax related. So that's why I want to make sure I have, all this information right, because it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of all that stuff. There's a lot of different mailings you get, right around beginning of the year or February timeframe. So it's good to keep in mind. So what do you expect the impact of this new service to be? Obviously, you talked about how those, especially on a fixed income, this could be a real benefit to them. But what do you see this impact being?
Well, currently about 65% of people have a mortgage on their home. So we're looking at the universe of the 35% that have paid that off. And for some people, they automatically already budget that and set it aside. So for those folks, this program maybe is not for them. Mm-hmm. So, but for maybe the 15 or 20% that say, hey, this is a great service and want to sign up. So I think that's kind of our goal, is that there'll be a portion, maybe 15 to 20% of those that are homeowners in El Paso County that want that convenience, they want that transparency, they want that assurance that it was made and paid. Because every year we get a handful of people said, oh, I missed the payment in the mail, or I didn't get my statement in the mail. And this is one way so you don't forget that, right, and incur any late fees. So I think it gives people the peace of mind. It's convenient. It's a way more and more people, I think, want government services delivered electronically. Like I said, when we introduced the kiosks, it started from the very beginning in the motor vehicle office to where we have over 100,000 people when I left the office that use that every year. I think people are looking for that. People can use the new ways of paying through a digital wallet through this program too. So I think we're working hard to make sure it meets people where they want to interface with government.
Yeah, that's really great. I think, the more options that you can provide always seems to be better, right?
And at every step of the way, the property owner, the citizen is in control.
Yeah. No.
So if they decide after a few months, Chuck, I'm not sure this program's for me. I'd rather go back to doing it the other way. You can opt out, and within 24 hours, that money's back into your bank account. So you, at every step of the way, you're in control of that process. So I think that's what people want, the choice to choose to how they interface with government.
Yeah, no, that's really great. Adding in that, you can opt out whenever you feel like that's actually something we didn't talk about yet. That's definitely really important. So you said if people do want to sign up, there are a couple ways they can do it. One, they can go to the El Paso County Treasurer's main page, and there'll be a link to the vendor on there that allows for this. Also, the website itself is escrowtaxes.com.
That's correct.
Okay,
so
cool.
If you go to our website and you say, after this, you listen to this broadcast, you forget, just Google El Paso County, Colorado Treasurer, and it'll be right in the middle of our landing page for our website. You can click on it. It'll take you there. Or if you just remember nothing else but escrow taxes, all scrunched together, one word, escrow taxes with an S.com, it'll take you to the same place.
Awesome. So moving on to a couple of different things I wanted to talk about. If you're able to look into the proverbial crystal ball, right, what do you think El Paso County residents should be paying close attention to in the coming months and years?
Sure. I think something is very, very much topical right now. So as some people are looking at the news and see the financial situation constraints that the state of Colorado is in. After balancing the budget a few months ago, they find themselves that they might be in arrears of about $924 million. So how do you, where you cut things, or where do you make allowances for that? And since we have Tabor in the state of Colorado, it does hold a check on government spending, which I think is a good thing. For our citizens here. Let the citizens decide in a measured way where their taxes go, and a cap or a limit on the growth of government. But I think the state is going to have to make some hard decisions about where those cuts are. We have two programs here that in El Paso County people utilize. That's the senior homestead exemption. That's for people who are 65 and older and who've been in their home for 10 years. They can enjoy a deduction or an exemption off the top that reduces their property taxes. And then we are very richly blessed to have a lot of military retirees here in our community. And there is the disabled veteran tax exemption for property taxes also. So those two programs are utilized in a great way here in El Paso County. And I would just tell citizens to kind of keep apprised of the news and make sure their legislators, and they can go online and Google, state representatives, state senators for Colorado, and they can go to, there's a website with the state of Colorado. You can go in and give them your address, and they'll tell you who your state senator and state representative is, and let them know, hey, this is a program that I utilize, and it's a very important program to me and my family, and please protect those exemptions for our seniors and for our disabled veterans in our community.
Yeah, no, that's always really good insight. I think it's really great, especially being able to talk to elected officials. I feel like, you all have the opportunity to see things at a little bit of a higher level than, I do on a daily basis. And, understanding these different programs that could potentially be impacted by different budget cuts or, how the winds may shift, right? Important to know. So, we can try and plan ahead in the event that something does happen. And, maybe nothing happens and great.
Yeah, right? It'd be awesome if it doesn't, but I think we need to be vigilant and aware. Yeah. Kind of keep that on your radar, and your legislators would love to hear from you. So don't be shy. They do want to reach out and hear what your concerns or emphasis might be in the impending special session.
Excellent. Well, I feel like we've been able to cover a lot of ground here today, but I just wanted to give you a final opportunity. If there's anything else you want to add that you think would be important for listeners to know. Yeah,
I think we are introducing a great new program. Citizens can be on the cutting edge in this inaugural program, people can have the confidence that this is safe and secure. All these transactions are PCI compliant, so people can rest assured that their funds are in a safe and secure location and being transacted in a secure way. And it's a very convenient way for people to de-stress their lives and not have to worry about their property taxes. So, please go to escrowtaxes.com or go to the El Paso County Treasurer's website and sign up. I think it's going to be a very promising program, and it's something that I think we as citizens will look back and say, hey, that was one of the good things that county government did for our citizens.
Well, de-stressors are always welcome in my household, so I appreciate that. Well, thank you, Chuck. I really appreciate you taking the time today for sharing all this information with us, and letting us know what to look ahead to, and for all that you do here in El Paso County. So thank you for making the time.
Well, thank you, Scott, for bringing this forward, and thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. If you are interested in listening to additional episodes of Beyond the Dais, be sure to look for us on Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.